okay, the last trend in the culture that we see is psychology is the new philosophy. So that's something that we saw with Carl Jung actually. His ideas were kind of treated as a new philosophy, and even Jordan Peterson is a psychologist, and it kind of like when we refer to philosophers in modern times, weirdly enough, Carl Jung, Jordan Peterson, they're actually there. It's more modern one, so it does seem that psychology is the new philosophy to some degree. That yes, there are modern philosophers, but we do see that a lot of psychologists, cognitive psychologists, like John Vervaeke, or we also see computer scientists with a physics background that are more philosopher now. It's more kind of philosophy has been kind of, I would say, since maybe 1980, we don't have philosophers per se. We have more psychologists or scientists that end up being more about philosophy to some degree. So it's very interesting, that kind of new trend. So that trend is in line with OPS in the sense that psychology is the new way to change worldviews or to discuss themes in the culture, in the abstract, and leverage our understanding, leverage concepts. And I think that OPS is pretty much at the center of that kind of psychology is the new philosophy. So even if OPS is not very philosophy alike, and Dave and Chan, they don't portray themselves as doing philosophy, and they just portray themselves as being about typing people very well. It's more that right now. But yeah, so I put the feeling abstraction of the self trinity. So it's more the vocabulary that I'm using, because we talk about psyche, we talk about the soul, we talk about spirit, but we don't have clear division of that, or at least in the culture. What I encounter when I talk to people about it, they don't really know what is what, some stuff like that. So I did that exercise. The psyche is more intellectual and ritualistic. It's more reality, seen and present. It's more rituals and actualization in your brain. While the soul is more reality and abstract. So it's in the middle. It's like the reality and the abstract. It's an unseen memory in the sense that it's more the soul, like it's more the art in the sense, you can say, the soul. And it's a present unclear. So the soul is very poetic. It's like kind of unclear. The soul has a destiny, but it's kind of unseen. It's unclear in the present, but it has a destiny. It's more very poetic, I would say, the soul. And spirit is more abstract, but it's seen in memory. Like when we think about spirit, actually, like I try to define that. My the NF representation that I have in my mind about spirit, kind of visualize it. I was like, okay, in some sense we do see the spirit. It's like when we talk about spirit, it's like it's more like actualized than the soul. The soul is more like a destiny between the abstract and the reality. While spirit is more fully abstract, but it is seen, and it's more a memory to some degree. Like the spiritual, like I am spiritual. Like when people say they are spiritual, it's like, okay, I'm more about the NF, or I'm more about the abstract, or like it's more seen. Like the spiritual is more seen, while the soul is not seen per se. So that's what is very interesting about the feeling abstraction trinity, in my sense, comparing to the thinker abstraction trinity, I would say. So yeah, the psyche is in line with vibration levels, the soul with the logos, and the spirit with levels of totality. So that's again more if you have the triangle, the top, the middle, and the bottom. And yeah, I do think that culturally, which align a lot with the idealistic trend in my sense, that I think that culturally we're going more to the feeling. I think we're going more to the feeling. I think we were more in the thinker worldview, to be more about the mechanic in the universe, how things works, like more at the bottom, more ST. And I think we have a small shift that will be actually big, a steady progression that will actually be big, that will be more about the feeling. So I kind of argue, kind of put the division that the feeling abstraction trinity is more psychology, and the thinker abstraction trinity is more philosophy. I do think that because we go more to the feeling abstraction trinity side of things, that we end up going more to psychology. That the share that philosophy had is kind of going more to psychology, which I think is kind of integrating. I would say since 1960, we are more like we are interested in the Eastern philosophy, like Buddhism and all that. But is like within our own conception of our Occidental worldview is still more thinker. So that's what's kind of interesting, that we're still more about the philosophy, but we import the Eastern philosophy to kind of inject more feeling, maybe abstraction. But with time, but it kind of worked, New Age and all that, but not totally right in the worldview. It's not settled in the worldview. It's more an experimentation or an outsider influence. And but now, oh, it's my cat. But now, we actually have the system that is going to the shift of the feeling, and it is psychology. So that's more my own opinion, I would say. This trend is more my own opinion. The other trends, I think that it can be seen if you have a keen eye, or if you're actually aware of things. I think that the trends are pretty obvious, but this one, I think it's more me pushing it a little bit. But I do think that psychology is a new philosophy, that we saw Jordan Peterson or Carl Jung. I mean, they are pretty much in my niche, to some capacity. But like the thinkers, the new thinkers that we have, or the new philosophers, end up being psychologists or scientists. So it's like, I guess we can say psychology and science is the new philosophy. I would say that the science being the new philosophy was something that we had in the 2000s. I would say it's more something that we had in the 2000s, and now we have more the psychology that is taking the flame of it. But yeah, so the thinker self-attraction trinity. So intellect is reality, unseen, and memory. So I think that the thinker memory is more at the bottom, while the feeling memory is more at the top. So it's more in unity that we have the feeling that we remember, while the intellectual is more in the ground that we remember. I do think so. Maybe it's a projection of my own psyche, because I do those definition things. But I do think the intellectual is more intellectual, realistic, reality, scene, and memory. The logos is more reality and abstract, so it's more the middle ground too. But it's seen in a present idea. It's more a discourse, a conversation, and it's more poetic. The logos is more poetic, and mind is more abstract and seen in an idea. So compared to the spirit, I do think that the abstract of the feeling is more seen, while the abstract in thinker is unseen. And it's more an idea, the mind, or an idea really affecting you very much, like it is in the spirit and the spiritual, but it's not per se a memory like the spirit, I would say. So that's kind of a hard vocabulary if you have not done the work, or maybe it's kind of, being honest, it's more my own conceptualization about it in my experience and all that. But psychology is the new philosophy. I think it's a trend, a potential trend, because it's like this trend, like I said, it's the trend that I'm the least confident on in some ways. But I do think that it's true. I think it will help a lot of OPS. Say that psychology is where we will explain our categories, where is the meat of the potato, the meat of the food, like the center of the subject, but so I do think, so that's the trend, the last trend.